This is the responsive grid-based hero section we're going to build. This is what it looks like right now. To get it looking like this, we're going to start by adding a section. We'll just drag a section right into the body. It doesn't look like this, but it will soon. So let's take another step. Let's set a height on the section to 100 VH, 100% of the viewport height. Then we can add a gradient to the background. And to get it looking right, we just need 2 stops. We'll select our first stop, and here we'll select our second stop, and we'll adjust the angle so it looks like the final design. And that looks about right. Once we're done with that, we can add texture. We're just choosing an image from our assets panel and setting it to overlay. The problem is we can't see it. So what do? We just reorder. We drag the background under the gradient. Then just set the opacity to a little bit lower on each stop. Second stop, let's drag down to 93%. That looks pretty good. We can see the texture in the background. Now, we'll drag in a grid. This is where things get really interesting. We keep cutting to this. It's the finished version of the hero section. Inside that section is a grid. 2 columns, 1 row. So let's do that in our design. Delete one of our rows, that's it. 2 columns, 1 row. And in the left column, we'll drag in a div block. We're using this to organize the content in the left. Content in the left includes a heading, so let's grab a heading, just drag it right into the div block. Same thing with the paragraph. Let's drag that into the div block. And finally, we have some buttons. We'll drag a button element right under that paragraph. But of course, our intention is to make sure that this content is not pushed all the way up to the top and all the way to the left. Now, using Flexbox with our section selected, we can adjust this content. We can justify, and we can align the content to the center, and we can also use a container. We'll use a container to keep all the content neatly bound towards the center. We'll just use the navigator here so we can specifically select our grid and drag it right into the container. Now everything's neatly towards the center. Now we'll select our body. Why? Because over in the Styles panel, we can make a critical change. We can scroll down to Typography and change our font. We'll simply make our selection, and it'll apply to all the children of the body. We can also change the default color. We can choose a light color here, or we can just simply pick white from the presets down at the bottom. Now let's put in some real copy, some real text. Double-click to edit the heading, paste, and we've pasted in our heading. Same thing with this paragraph. Paste, and that's better. Let's make some more changes. To the end, we've lost our mouse. The mouse is no longer visible, just darkness. And there's our mouse. Let's change the font size, and we'll adjust the line height as well. Make sure that's tweaked to look just right. And we can double-click our button to edit its text, saying App Store. Now here's our final design again. There's changes to the color, there's changes to the logo, the rounding, so we'll start with the color. Let's change our background color to black. That's it. First part changed, and let's add our background image. All we gotta do is choose image, and we can select the image from our assets panel. And we can't see a thing yet. Let's position it to the left, and we'll adjust the width of the image. Let's do 20 pixels. But there are too many logos, so let's just turn off tiling. After we're done with that, we can adjust the position of the logo relative to the left side. And we can close out of background image properties. Let's adjust the padding. We'll add some padding on the left to space everything out, and we'll tweak our font size so everything looks just right. Now, sometimes when making adjustments to font size or even line height, as we're doing right now, we'll want to adjust our padding on the top and bottom as well. Get that looking just right. And we can do the same thing for radius, add some rounding on the edges. Let's select our button, copy, paste. Now we have 2. They're kind of close, so let's give it some margin on the right side so there's some breathing room in between the buttons. But we can't change the background because we're using the same class on both these buttons. Let's rename that to be more specific, Store button. And what we'll do on the second one, the second button, which is going to be the Google Play Store, is create a combo class. We'll call it Google. And what that lets us do is it lets us make changes like the background image here. So we can simply select the logo for Google Play Store. We'll select that. And just like we changed the Apple logo, we'll change the Google Play Store logo to 20 pixels. Now remember, this button's styling is based on the first button's styling. Making a change to this button won't affect the first button because it's a more specific selector. If we select the first button, make a change there, since that's the basis, it will affect the second button. We can use any style, any class as a starting point. All we have to do is add a combo class. Double-click to edit the text. Let's call it Google Play Store, since that's what it is, and we'll select our paragraph. Using lower margin, we can push the buttons off the paragraph. Let's grab the phone, and we'll drag it into the other column. Now let's reference our final design again. We can see that everything's neatly vertically centered, and there are a few ways to do this. We'll cover 2. This is with grid. We can select our grid child, the div block itself, and choose to align it to the center. So now it's vertically centered. We can do this with Flexbox too. With our div block selected, we can switch to flex, and it looks hideous until we switch to vertical. Then all we have to do is justify to the center. We can use a div block again here as a wrapper for our buttons. Just drag the div block above the buttons, drag the buttons into the div block, and now we've achieved the same result with flex. Our phone's a little too prominent, so we'll select our grid, go to edit that grid, and we can adjust our column size. We can use fractional units, FRs. We can drag or manually enter a value to get really precise with the sizing, and it automatically takes care of the gap. We'll add our navigation momentarily, but before we do that, let's create this interaction. We can see the phone is breathing in, breathing out, moving up and moving down. We can do this really simply with an interaction. We'll select that image, we'll go over to interactions, and we'll add a trigger to the page. When the page loads, we'll start an animation. We can just choose that from the dropdown. And for our animation, it'll be timed. We'll create a new one, and we'll call it Phone Floats in the Air. It's going to be made up of 2 moves. The first one, we're going to move along the y-axis up and down. We'll move it a little bit up. It's 13 pixels, that's fine. And we'll create a second move. This move will return back to the origin, 0 pixels, back to where it started. You can see it moves up and down. It's pretty abrupt, so we can select both of those actions and make an adjustment. We can choose easing, ease in, out. And to make it a little bit slower, let's increase our duration to 3 seconds. If we hit play, we can see it breathes in, and then after 3 seconds, it breathes out for another 3 seconds. Exactly what we'd expect, because we just told it to. Let's hit the X and turn on looping. To do that, just check loop. And what that means is when we preview, we'll see that over those 6 seconds, we go up for 3 seconds, back down for 3 seconds, and it restarts the animation, goes up for another 3 seconds. You get the idea. Let's finish up strong by adding a navbar. We can go down in our add panel to the components and drag in a navbar. We'll drop this right in the page body. And we can add our logo right into the brand section, into the brand link block. Let go, we can close out the image settings, and just make an adjustment by grabbing at the bottom right and resizing. Now at any time we can use our lower navigation. In this case we'll use it to select the brand link block, and we'll go over to the styles panel. We can give the logo some breathing room by holding down Option or Alt and clicking and dragging to adjust the padding. To top things off here, we're going to change our nav link itself. We'll change the text color to white, so that it matches the rest of our brand. And we can double click to edit the text here too. We'll say, get the app. And we'll do the same thing on the second one, emergency bug report. That's really important for an app like this. On the second one, we can simply use that same class, and it inherits all of those properties. Let's delete contact, and we'll continue by selecting the navbar to make that transparent. But here's the thing. If we make it transparent, it looks white in the background because our body color is white. If we move the navbar in our section, though, then we don't have that problem anymore. So all we got to do is make our navbar absolutely positioned. That yanks it out of the document flow completely. Use the position preset to set it to the top. It works perfectly. Finally, let's make an adjustment to these nav links. We can increase the font size to make things a little more legible, and here we go. So, we created our full hero section based on a grid. In the next video, we'll make this thing responsive.